Brilliance Audio.
Kinky Secrets of Alice Through the Looking Glass by Melinda Duchamp. Performed by Alix Dale.
Chapter 1. Looking Glass House. One thing was certain, the white kitten had had nothing to do with it. It was the black kitten's fault entirely. For Snowball had been having her face washed by the old cat for the last quarter of an hour, and bearing it pretty well considering, so she couldn't have had any hand in the mischief. Alice held up the sexy halter dress she'd been planning to wear to her first real college fraternity party, and studied the large, ugly snag right at boob level. "You had to play with this, didn't you?" she scolded Cream Pie, the black kitten. The kitten rolled around on her futon as if he couldn't care less, while the mother cat, Alice's dear Felcher, finished with the white kitten's bath. Alice threw the ruined dress onto the floor and eyed her naked body in the full-length mirror. She'd heard horror stories about the freshman 15, those extra pounds co-eds famously put on in their first year at college from too much fast food and beer, and she was adamant about not letting that happen to her. But lately, she couldn't seem to prevent stuffing her face with chocolate, causing most of her sexiest clothes to no longer fit, and that was all Lewis's fault. She still couldn't believe what she'd seen that morning after Lewis had stayed over. Alice had walked in the bathroom and, oh my dear, he'd been standing in front of the mirror, wearing her frilliest, laciest, pinkest panties and stroking his stiff manhood through the silk. "Lewis, you're gay," had been the only words that she'd been able to push through her lips. Of course he'd denied it, claiming he just found wearing pretty girly things to be a turn-on. But she hadn't believed it for a moment. Her Lewis, was obviously not interested in women other than their underwear, and so she'd broken up with him on the spot. Now, weeks later, Alice was horny as she could possibly be, and her dear little mischievous kitten had ruined her chance to go to her first frat party and find some sexual release. There was even a good chance that Lewis would be there, and she could never have him seeing her looking fat in clothes that didn't fit, whether he was gay or not. And all this because of a kitten. Alice took a deep breath and decided not to think about the cats anymore, because that would be frightfully boring to read about. But sex, on the other hand, was always fun, so with this in mind, dear reader, she peered into her underwear drawer, and rather than selecting a bra and panties, she dug out a long cylindrical device from underneath the underthings. The white rabbit. Alice ran a finger from the base of the device over the two ear-like...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?